Okay, welcome to another edition of Ragic Web Office Hour webinar, and let's get started on answering the questions. Okay, first question. First question looks like a reply to the answer that I gave 2 weeks ago. So referencing the answer, he still cannot get the formula to update while in the listing page. Well, you said reading your answer, so I'm suggesting that you can try checking out the recording of the last webinar because I did a demo on how to place the formula in the listing page on the design view. So why doesn't this work in a normal mode? So some possible reason um, is that you probably don't have all the fields that you're referencing in the listing page. Let's take a look at 187. Make sure that I'm reading that right. You need to, because my answer is you need to add the fields that the formula references in the form page to the listing page and configure formulas separating separate formulas separately in the listing page. And on the last webinar I did do a do I did do the somebody put the answer there already. Okay, anyway, I'll see if I can find the webinar recordings. I think we should be able to find it in the channel. What? This is the Chinese one. There we go. You can find the webinar recording here. Okay, so next question. Is there a way to check if wait, let me think. Okay, let me just get the answer a bit more complete here. The point is to make sure that all the fields that's needed for the formula to complete is on the listing page. Okay, so next question. Is there a way to check if the formulas are consistent on different related sheets? On multiple versions or related sheets, if a field formula has been updated on one sheet, could the formula also update on other sheets as well automatically so I don't have to modify the fields formula so many times on different sheets? Yeah, I think we kind of covered this on the last webinar too. So um, yeah, and this is the we will be considering adding this kind of functionality, but this is not supported right now, and we're hoping that we can add this functionality in the near future. Okay, next question. Will there be changes soon to the money field to have it show 2 digits after the period if the last digit is a 0? Okay, let's take a look at the sample. For example, 42.10 instead of 42.1. Okay, so the formula, there are two types of formats that you could put on a digit. There are zeros and there are the pound sign. So the pound sign means that if the if if the number is 0, we don't display it. But the format if the format if the format is 0, it means that it will put a 0 there, even though the actual number there is a 0. So I think the format that you're looking for would be, hat the hash period 00. So that would be the formula that you'll be looking for. So the question would be, you can try out the formula, the format. Zero in the format means that the digit should be displayed even if it's 0. Okay, and the next question is that, is there anything in the works to allow us to make our own reports? I'm using reports offered and finding them as a newbie to be formatted a little weird and more frustrating than they need on my end. I would like to create my own reports and add graphs as needed and make a check mark this. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by your own reports, but right now we do have functionality like called the widgets. So you should be able to add like little graphs to the sheets that you're using right now. So it could be used to create your own reports. And yeah, I think it would be a more fitting way for, according to your description. So let me save my previous answer first. And so let me do a short demo on the widgets. Oops. Oh, so this is a demo on the widgets. So you can add widgets like this on the listing page. So for example, this is a service. Okay, let's start over with this. So let me add a widget again. So you can add it like with the right key, insert widget. And when the widget is on the page, you could, you could simply put it in a place that you would like it to be displayed, or resize it to make it an appropriate size, and say this could be, so this could be a, what? This kind of weird bug here. Anyway, let me remove this first. Okay, so this is the data source sheet. So when you insert a widget, the data source does not need to be on the same sheet. and it could be on another sheet. But in this example, it's aggregating, the number of records on this sheet. So we can show a small widget here to calculate the number of records, and we show a total and maybe a change from the previous period, change percentage from previous period. So there are quite a few ways that you could display the data here. So let's use all the functionalities here to kind of understand what this does. Okay, so we save it and you will be able to see the widget right here. Okay, let me add another new service request so that you could kind of understand what this means. Okay, so on this widget, you can see the new service request added in this month. So it appears on the 1 month period here. And for the max, you could see all the service requests added here. So this is displayed like a bar. Displayed like a bar, it looks a little bit weird. So let's change it to a sparkline. Max. Okay, so well, there's not a lot of data, so the graph looks usually a little bit weird. So basically, you could add any number of widgets on the sheet to make it look like the report that you're looking for. And I think this will be more suitable than the reports that you tried out, because these reports are generally for analytical purposes. So usually it's for you to analyze your own data. But if you have certain specific output formats that you are looking for, you would usually be better off with this kind of widgets, or maybe a mail merge report, which can be used for creating reports in Word or Excel format. Or another way to do it is to use publish to the web and use Ragic as a data source and in a back end. So this way you could use any reporting tool like Power BI, Tableau as the front end to actually generate the reports. So there are quite a few ways for you to generate reports on Ragic. Okay, so for the report, there are quite a few ways to do this. First, you can try out the adding widgets to your sheet. There can be multiple widgets on listing page or form page that retrieve the report from different sheets. And secondly, you can also try our mail merge function to generate reports in Word or Excel. And lastly, you can also use our publish to the web function to use Ragic as a data source and use your favorite reporting tool to generate the report. Okay, there are quite a few ways to do this, and I do understand that you say that if you if they are formatted a little weird, and you know, feel free to let us know, what kind of changes that we could make on our standard report. So we would also love to improve on our standard reports so that maybe they could work even better out of the box. Do let us know how we can improve on our standard reports. We want to have it work out of the box for more users. Okay. Next question. Hidden field for selected user and groups. Okay. Cool. There's a note here. Oh, okay. You probably mentioned this on the community too. So when can we expect this function implemented? Hidden field for selected user and groups. This could be a big improvement on Ragic since it will decrease the developing time, avoid having multiple subtables for different groups, adding to the problem that a report needs to have access to the subtable, reducing error checking and maintenance of many different page versions. Okay, let's take a look at the community post. Okay, so suggestion made it last year in November. Currently, if a field is masked, those users with permission to view the masked text will see a row of this and an eye icon so they can click to unmask. Okay, designed it so that they can, for those users to load it without the mask, without clicking on the eye thing. What? Not exactly sure. Hidden field for selected user and groups. Multiple subtable for different groups. Let me finish reading this. Okay, so what you mean is that some groups of users should be able to see the content of the field automatically without clicking on the eye icon. So those three options for the field, that's your suggestions. For some user group, it would be by default visible, okay? For some groups, the data would be hidden. Grade showed the current behavior. So for some users, they would like to be using the current behavior, and some user groups should be with the by default visible, okay? Hmm. Okay, so all right. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm not exactly sure if this has been added to our issue database or suggestions, but I'll make sure to check it out after the the webinar and see if this is added. And it would be pretty much easier to add a functionality, add an option for you to decide if the content should be decoded automatically for certain groups. But it would be a bit more complex if okay, let me take a look at like for this field, for example. This is a max field, so viewable groups. So perhaps there should be an option so that for viewable groups, they don't have to click on the eye icon to see the content. But I'm not sure if there should be multiple settings on this so that if we need to have one group of users that needs to click on the icon and the other group doesn't need to click on the icons and unmasked automatically. I think we should be able to add a functionality so that it decides if the field content should be unmasked automatically or not. Okay, I think this could be a good first step for this field configuration. Thank you for your suggestion. For auto unmasking unmask fields so that users does not need that already have the access right to the mask fields does not need to click on the icon to see values. All right, thank you for your suggestion. Okay, and feel free to follow up in the comment section so that in the comments so if there's any misunderstanding on your suggestion or if you think the the way that I'm planning for this functionality to be implemented, if you think there's any problem with that. Well, two more questions. All right, let's click here. Pivot tables from live data, but be able to use the result data. I'm guessing this is use. Is there any plan to develop a pivot table from live data? Oh, okay. I think you're referring to it as a widget. Creating a widget from the. Oh, and you want to use the result data. Well, that would be quite a big change from the current structure. So it's possible that we support this on our widgets, but if you want to be able to use the result data, that would be quite a bit more difficult. If we were to support something like that, we would probably need to support it with like formulas or something. But of course, having a pivot table on your data sheets, that could be pretty helpful. But in my mind, this is like a major big change to our overall sheet structure. So it's gonna be it if it's ever supported, it's gonna be a lot of work. So the nearest thing should be the support for pivot table on widgets, and that's a little bit more possible. Adding the pivot table function to our widgets. And maybe retrieving data from the widgets, that's going to be hard. Yeah. But adding pivot table to our sheets and having pivot table data available for like formulas. A big change in our current structure and not likely implement. Okay. Thank you for your suggestion. Next one, Tableau mentioned in the webinar. Okay, so I heard you mention Tableau. Is this an option you can recommend when to analyze and combine from different sources? Yeah, and basically, if the current report, the standard reports that Ragic provides or the widgets, it does not meet your requirements, we usually recommend that you can use the publish to the web function and generate the reports using any third-party reporting tool that you're familiar with. So Tableau or Power BI, Tableau and Power BI, these are the two options that we most frequently hear Ragic users use. So usually when they can't do something on Ragic, by reporting, they just use Power BI or Tableau to generate the reports. When the standard reports and widgets on Ragic is not enough to meet the requirements, our users most frequently use Power BI and Tableau to generate reports using Ragic as a data source. Ragic can be a data source by using the publish to the web function. Okay, that's here. Publish to the web. Yeah, so basically it makes Ragic a data feed to outside software. All right. Okay, I hope this answers your question. So I guess this is it for the questions for today. And if you have any further questions, feel free to use the Office Hour question sheet, and we will continue answering your questions in 2 weeks on the next webinar. Thank you and goodbye.